Let's talk about e-invoicing. For many companies, the moment that word comes up, it's immediately handed off to the IT. Go set it up, make it work with the ERP, integrate the API, and just get it done. But here's the thing, e-invoicing isn't just an IT project. It's a tax compliance initiative first and a technical integration second. And if your tax team isn't leading it, or at the very least deeply embedded from the start, you're putting your compliance, your cash flow, and frankly, your businesses at risk. Today, I want to walk you through why tax teams, not just IT, should be steering the ship on e invoicing. And I'm not just talking about the high level strategy, I'm talking about the real on the ground outcomes that impact every invoices you send. Now let's start with the obvious. E-invoicing mandates exist to improve the tax compliance and transparency. They're introduced by the tax authorities, not the IT departments, which means these mandates come packed with legal and regulatory complexity, which would include compulsory invoice fields, archiving and audit rules, submission timelines, and country specific schemas. Your IT team might know how to build the integration, but it's your tax team that knows what has to be in the invoice, down to the format of the TRA and how to tag exempt supplies. And this difference matters because if the tax details aren't right, you don't just get a failed submission, you can face penalties, rejected VAT claims, or even blocked cash flows. Let me give you a real scenario. A multinational company rolls out e-invoicing platform in 3 countries. The integration is flawless technically, but in 6 months in, they realize they're missing the mandatory local content fields for one of the jurisdictions. Invoices are being accepted by the buyer but rejected by the tax authority. Now they're scrambling to issue credit notes, re-invoice transaction, and fix the master data and explain it all during their next VAT audit. Why does it happen? Because the tax team wasn't part of the configuration phase. They were brought in too late, after the architecture was already set. It's a common story, and it's exactly why tax team needs to lead or co-lead from day one. The real risk in e-invoicing isn't in the tech, it's in the tax. A well-built system that's poorly aligned with tax requirements can cause rejected filings, delayed cash flows, regulatory fines, and even audit red flags that cascades into multi-country issues. But when the tax team leads, they can configure invoice templates to meet the country specific rules, validate fields like HSN codes, tax rates, exemption categories, and set up secure archiving means that will meet the jurisdictional requirements. They will proactively shape the system so it works not just technically but compliantly. Now, let's talk about the future. E-invoicing isn't one and done project. Tax authorities are getting more sophisticated, mandates are expanding, real-time reporting is becoming the global norm. So the question is, who's the best equipped to monitor these changes and adapt the system over time? It's your tax team. They're the ones that are tracking the regulatory updates, new schema versions, shifts in the VAT treatment, cross-border policy changes. When your tax is in charge, your e-invoicing infrastructure stays agile. You're not reacting to the compliance failures, you're anticipating them. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about tax working in isolation. E-invoicing touches IT, finance, procurement, and even the commercial teams. But with tax in the lead, you ensure that compliance sits at the core of every decision. Now, let's break down the rules. Tax defines invoice content, legal obligation, and monitors the regulatory updates. IT builds the pipes, connecting systems, ensuring security, and maintaining the uptime. Finance ensures alignment with the accounting processes, AP and AR workflows, and reporting structures. As you can see, it's a team effort. But without tax leadership, those moving parts don't always add up to compliance. When the tax leads, it's not just about the risk mitigation, it's about the operational excellence. VAT treatment becomes more consistent, reconciliation becomes faster, automation becomes smarter. So now your team spends less time firefighting and more time analyzing, strategizing, and optimizing. If you're in tax and thinking, okay, I want to lead, but where do I start? Here's a roadmap. First, audit your current invoices practices. Find the compliance gaps before the system is built. Define the tax governance early. Who owns what, who approves the schema changes, and who reviews the errors. Select compliant tech. Choose platforms that support local formats, validation, and archiving. Build automation rules into the platform. Automate VAT rate validation, TRN checks, and field completeness. Stay informed. Monitor the updates from the tax authorities and the vendors. Subscribe to the alerts. Be proactive. Train your stakeholders. Make sure IT and finance understand the why, not just how. Establish audit and monitoring protocols. Regularly review invoice errors, rejection rates, and compliance systems. By taking these steps, tax teams don't just ensure compliance, they drive smarter, more strategic digital tax function. So here's the bottom line. E-invoicing is a tax transformation project that is powered by the technology, not the other way around. And if tax doesn't lead, there's a real risk that the systems will be built without knowing the compliance DNA that they need to succeed. Let IT handle the code, let finance own the workflows, but let tax lead the vision. Because getting e-invoicing right isn't about integration, it's about the interpretation. Want to explore how your tax team can lead smarter e-invoicing rollouts? At Complyance, we support tax-first e-invoicing strategies so your tech adapts to the law, not the other way around.